My name is Clara Robinson. I am running for the office of Treasurer of Kalamazoo Township. And I am running for Treasurer because, number one, I think that I am a good fit for the role. At Kalamazoo Township, I've been on that board since 2020. I had a year gap in there, but I think that I'm a good fit in that role, in that position. It's what my background is. I was the deputy treasurer for another local jurisdiction for about 12 years. And so with there being a need there, I see it. And if I am the person that can fill it, I'll be happy to do so. Okay, one of the things that I want to say is I would encourage residents to use our Zoom. Kalamazoo Township is one of the townships that stuck with that following COVID. We have kept that option available, so you don't have to show up necessarily to meetings, but you are able to interact with us, the board, by getting on those Zoom meetings. And also we have work sessions before every township board meeting in which we discuss all of the relevant topics of what we have going on for that board meeting, and also things that we may be looking at doing later down the line. So a lot of things before decisions are made, there's a lot of thought put into that long before it's made. And unfortunately, sometimes people are not engaged, I would say, to that. And so all they see is the final product, when sometimes there's months of work going into that. So I just say engagement, just I'd encourage people to go online. I'd encourage people to use the Zoom. I would encourage people to stay connected. We also have an app available as well, where you can jump on the township app and also stay connected. So I think the biggest thing is just staying connected with your community. Well, I think it's very important, transparency, of course, when it comes to taxpayer dollars. I think it's important for residents to understand that your board members are also residents too. They're also taxpayers too. So there's a vested interest for both sides. So I think that it is extremely important to make sure that you look at when we have the budget come out, and generally they do those somewhere around October. But that process is a lengthy process. Make sure you pay attention to the budget, the audit also. All of these things are available online, so you make it as transparent as possible. You put it out there for people to see it, but you can't make people go look at it. That's the nicest way for me to say it. So, but again, engagement is the biggest piece. So you want to get people to be engaged and to go and look at those things. You want to make sure that not only are you, I guess, not just paying attention when you get your tax bills twice a year, but at all the things that happen that you vote on and that come around that end up on your tax bill, because that's where it lands. The things that you vote on can impact what you pay. So again, people just stay connected and pay attention to the inner workings of everything, and everything is right there. You just sometimes have to go and find it. And if you can't, reach out to someone at your local jurisdiction and ask, and they are there to help you. They are public servants. That is the job of your local board. I think that accountability is something that is necessary. I think that accountability holds people, of course, accountable for their actions. Also, I think that it is a privilege to be put in a position to be able to serve the people. And whenever people put that kind of confidence in you, and they give you their vote, you owe them at least, your best. And so I would expect people to hold me accountable, as I do myself, with anybody and my other elected officials. Like that is the job of a public servant. Like, you're here to serve the public. I expect there to be questions asked. I expect there to be pushback on some things. I don't expect it to be a easy road at all. So, I expect to be held accountable. I expect for people to ask questions, because if you don't, then how would you know? I think that when it comes to the housing crisis, I think that that's a nationwide thing that's far bigger than just a township, a county, city. And the lack of housing is where you end up with the situations of homelessness within a community, because there is a lack of, say, affordable housing. And so I think that one of the ways to help with that is to find either developers that want to come to the community, reaching out to try and get, housing built that is going to be for lower income, and just also working with your planning and zoning departments to make sure that you can get areas where it can be zoned in order to be able to have it placed there. Also, again, that's a community engagement thing as well, because when it comes to affordable housing, unfortunately, a lot of people see that as it devaluing property, when actually you can bring value if you can get people into housing and off of the streets and other things. And so if you can get housing in your area, you can also add that to your tax base. With public safety, I think that one of the things that is, beneficial to the residents of Kalamazoo Township is that they implemented community policing, which I know when I was younger, you got to know your officers. You got to know them by names. They were in your area. So it was more of a relationship that you had with those individuals. So they definitely weren't strangers to you. So I think community policing helps with that. That way, when you're calling someone out or they're in your area, you can keep them alerted of different things that are going on within your area, to let them know, okay, I have this going on, and they're able to address that. They're able to bring attention to that. So I think that it's a unity in the community type of thing. I think that it is a double-edged sword. You have to look at it from both sides. Like, we want them to help us, but we also have to help them. So, but I think that we have a leg up with community policing, so that we have those officers that are out there dedicated to specific communities to assist and to make themselves known. So I think that helps. I think when it comes to economic growth, I think that's a part of what is your plans, for the future. How are you looking at your strategic planning for your township? What are you trying to bring to the area? What businesses are you looking at? What developers, what developments can bring more, not only revenue, but also when you allow builders to come and build and bring different businesses, how many jobs does that create? And creating those jobs, that can help, because you end up putting more bodies in those jobs. More people end up employed. So I think that helps. But I think that overall, that's of course bigger than a township thing, but from a small standpoint, I think you just have to look at getting some of these businesses that are not operational right now. We need to fill some of these holes. Like, we have a lot of areas where we have nothing. there in different areas of the community. We don't have any, where there used to be businesses and now there's just empty buildings, empty storefronts. And so how can we get people engaged and businesses and things to come back to the community? So if we can get that to happen, I think then we can bring some jobs back to the area, and that helps. So even if it's just 1 or 2 jobs, one at a time, however we can help from our small standpoint would be some help. I think when it comes to poverty and the situation with poverty, I think that it is the standpoint would be from the jobs to the housing. I think that's a combination piece right there. You have to address many issues to address one issue. You can't just say, well, we have poverty, let's just tackle that. You have to tackle the lack of housing, lack of affordable housing, which can be an issue for people. How can they come to the community, live there, work there, thrive there if they don't have affordable housing? And then also, what is the job situation? What jobs do you have that are available in that area? What are the benefits to coming to your area? So I think that you have to tackle those in order to be able to tackle poverty in itself. You have to start from the ground up. Well, I think that number one is by simply showing up. And I say that from a standpoint of just me showing up, myself. You have to see the things that represent you. Sometimes it's a matter of just being a part of something. It's very hard to look at things from different standpoints, different viewpoints, if you do not see that represented. You don't feel represented. If you only see one thing, then that's what you believe is the only thing that people are caring about. So I think that, it starts with just becoming a part of it. I think that for me, that's probably one of the main reasons. Like I look at that, I can feel that, and I understand where that comes from. And so the first thing for me is, how do I make a difference? Well, I make a difference by becoming a part of the solution, by offering myself as a part of that solution. So if I get there, then they can see it from my perspective. I can be a voice of change. So hopefully that helps. As far as the health of democracy right now, I would say that I would say that I wouldn't put it on life support, but I would pretty close there right now. I think that we are struggling as a nation just to figure out how to move forward in a positive way with inclusion, with just overall everything. I think that there is clearly a struggle, and I think that we have to be engaged, stay engaged, and when we see things that do not align with democracy, we have to call it out. And I think that is our job as people that want that fairness, that want that opportunity to vote on things, to have a say, to be a part of our processes. I think that we have no choice but to speak up and speak out whenever we see that it's not working. So I think that's important. But right now, I think that there is a struggle in the process for sure when it comes to democracy. How we fix it, I would say together. How we get ourselves together in order to do that, I can't say that I have an answer for that, but I hope we find it in my lifetime. I would say that every single person's voice matters. That's number one. And I would say that you don't realize how much it matters until you choose to use it. So the things that you don't say and the things that, we don't hear as public servants are the things that sometimes we need to hear, but nobody says it. So, don't be afraid to say those things. If you see something that is not working, don't be afraid to communicate. Send an email, make a phone call, send a text message. However, there's so many avenues to communicate with your local leadership. Make sure you use that and don't just sit idly by and think or believe that you don't matter, because everybody does and everybody's voices matter. But the voice that says nothing is the one that's never heard. I would just say that, what you see is what you get. That is the easiest way for me to say it. I am who I am. I care about people. I care about change. I care about this community. And so I am here as a public servant and have served for probably my whole life. So that is something that is in me, probably never going to go away. And so, whether I am voted in or voted out, I'm still going to be a person who is out here serving in some capacity, one way or the other.